Francis, two body minds, one body mind cannot love another body mind. So what we love in the other it's not it. So when a sage looks at us, he sees consciousness. So what are these distinguished qualities? Yeah, what are the distinguished qualities? If I'm with my friends, for example, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter their personalities, because what we really love is what we all have in common. So can you talk a little bit about that?
That which loves through a body-mind is not a body-mind. And that which is loved as apparently a body-mind is not a body-mind. That's the point. That which loves first is what we call I. We say, I love. Right? So that which loves is our true nature, whatever it is. And since our true nature is not the body-mind, that which loves is not a body-mind. Now the question is, that which is loved. If we see the other person as a body-mind, there is no love. There is no love for a body-mind as such. Because love, that which loves, which is love itself, loves only itself. Consciousness only loves consciousness. So, we don't love a body-mind for the sake of the body-mind, but what we love is the body-mind as an expression of consciousness. So, through the body-mind, what we love is consciousness. So, the moment we are aware that the body-mind is not something that has absolute existence, is not something that exists independently from consciousness, but that it is instead a manifestation of consciousness, he says, that it is consciousness itself at that moment appearing under the guise of a body-mind. Then our love is well placed, you see. So it could be said that yes, we love the body-mind, but we love the body-mind knowing that it is consciousness appearing as the body-mind. It's like we have a party, right? And we all, we came all costumed with masks, right? And your girlfriend or your boyfriend is there. And you know that's him, because you have helped him rent the costumes, right? So what you love is the real guy, not the costume, you see. So then you can say, oh yes, I love Till Eulenspiegel, right? Right? But in fact, you know that you are not in love with Till Eulenspiegel, who is dead a long time ago, but you are in love with your girlfriend masquerading as Till Eulenspiegel.
But sometimes we do not like the personality. And
yeah, that's a different story.
But that what connects us all can never be like tainted. So if we have that in mind, it's okay that we don't like certain traits sometimes.
You know, there are some body minds that are hard to get. It's through which consciousness is playing hard to get. And sometimes it's playing impossible to get. So we have to accept that. You see? And often we have to accept that we were better off getting the hell out of there.
Sometimes I thought, I have to love everybody, and even the body minds. If I don't, then there's something not right with me.
But we have to understand that what we're in love with is the absolute, the universe. So I love dogs, right? But if I try to make it nice with this dog, and as I approach the dog shows the teeth, and give me some warning, right? Where I take also the warning as coming from the absolute, right? So I love the dog as the absolute, and I love the warning as the absolute, right? So I don't try to pet the dog. So take human beings as dogs. There are all kinds of dogs. There are nice dogs and there are not so nice dogs.
I don't want to apply the corrective out of simple ego, out of domination. But I also know that there's limits to my ability to absorb challenges that don't follow the protocol. Do you have any suggestion on how to navigate that?
Well, the proper attitude is not always to smile what this person says or does. This eternal smile is called political correctness. So we are talking about something else here. I'm going to tell you a true story, which I have told already because I've already told all of my stories over the last 20 years. But we were in Switzerland, and my teacher invited me to a restaurant, to a fine restaurant, and because he wanted to please me, to treat me. And so we are at this restaurant, and we are vegetarians, of course. And he started by ordering a bottle of expensive champagne to show that he was not a penny pincher, right? So hopefully that would have put the waiter in a good mood, because no matter what we would order thereafter, the bill will be fat enough that he could make a good tip out of it, right? So that was a very civilized way to do things. And then he told the guy that we were vegetarian. And this waiter became to be so contemptuous, and with his attitude and this, and sarcastic, about. So comes the first course. It was an Italian restaurant in Switzerland, so they have all this antipasto, also on the chariot, there were all these little things. And so the guy asked, so what would you like? My teacher asked, and no. My teacher chose for us because he knew. I was there with my companion. He knew very well what we liked and didn't like. So he pointed one thing on the chariot, and the guy takes it, put it in the plates, and then he wants to go to the next person. And My teacher stops him right there. Then he points to another thing. Goes to the same place. And then the guy wants to go to he points to another thing. And then, so it was like taming a dog. You see what I mean? So when the plate of my companion is finished, same thing with my plate. And at the end, the guy was there. He had been tamed. The condescension, the sarcasm were not there. He was there awaiting the order, what to pick, what not to pick from the plate. And that was an example where my teacher was full of, goodwill, going into this place, and he didn't deserve this type of, response. The guy took his lesson. You see what I mean? And because he had miscalculated the guy, because he had miscalculated who was in a position of authority. He miscalculated who was sitting on the left seat. You see? Because in a fancy restaurant or in a fancy hotel, the customer sits on the left seat, not the waiter.
Well, it's interesting to me in the resolution of that there wasn't a chat. There wasn't a dialogue about how I feel or what I think or whatnot. It was simply, in dealing with a dog, for example, it's just no, yes, no, kind of like that. And I'm wondering if that may have a certain more efficient communication than getting into it.
One should always try to connect with the consciousness, with the love, with the intelligence, with the humor in the other person. One should always try to find the appropriate door. Sometimes the door is very hard to find. And sometimes you don't have this luxury. Sometimes there is no time and there is something to be done, like in your situation or like in the situation there is a meal to be eaten, right? We are not going to spend hours or days to tame the waiter, right? What are we going to do? We are seated, we have made the reservation, so we have to proceed. Same thing, you are there, you are clear for takeoff, you have to proceed.
So I think at a certain level, I'm clear about that. And, excuse me. No, at a certain level, I'm completely clear about that. And what undermines that clarity is my own reactivity. So I find myself either like lumping it or being annoyed or angry or going silent and whatnot. And then seeing that reactivity.
Yeah, that's a yoga exercise. But the moment you become, the pitfall would be to try to eliminate this reactivity.
Okay.
You have to see it as a very natural phenomenon, especially given the circumstance. But it is your being aware of it. The mere fact that you are aware of it places you behind it.
That's beautiful.
There is a distance, you see. So, because if you get aggravated because of your getting aggravated, it's a double feature, right? So it's enough to be aggravated, and you take it as a part of the landscape. There is an aggravating body sitting next to an aggravated body, right? That's a picture.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to take online questions, and we'll start with the questions that were left unanswered from yesterday. I hope our friends are watching us online, otherwise you will have the recordings. Murray, you noted that the experience of awareness knowing itself is by a different channel than the channel of awareness knowing objects. calling the form of the non-objective channel and the latter the phenomenal channel, I have this question. In my experience, when I am aware of the non-objective channel, I find no object in the non-objective channel. However, objects are still present because the phenomenal channel continues while the non-objective channel is being noticed. In other words, both channels operate simultaneously. Is this experience and recognition of the non-objective channel containing no object, even while objects are still known in the phenomenal channel, tantamount to Nirvikalpa Samadhi? No, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, properly speaking, is what happens when there is no object in the phenomenal channel. When the phenomenal channel goes silent, then there is no object with which consciousness could possibly identify. And therefore, ignorance at that very moment becomes unsustainable due to the absence of object with which it could identify. And that precipitates, if you will, the recognition of consciousness by itself, which is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now, usually, on the objective channel is a mono channel. It's not a stereo or a multi-channel. It's a mono channel, meaning that whatever is being perceived objectively at any given moment through a human mind is always presented as one single object. If we believe that two objects are present, but can be present, but in fact the moment these two objects, A and B, or my left hand and my right hand, are present in the field of awareness, they have been synthesized, if you will, as one single object, left plus right. So the objective channel is a mono channel. Whatever is present at every moment is one single object. But because the noumenal channel, the non-objective channel, is distinct from the phenomenal channel, there is this possibility of being simultaneously aware of both the objects and of the presence. Now, the hallmark of this experience is the absence of problem that it generates. The piece of the background is perceived simultaneously with the objects, with the phenomena. That's why I mentioned the absence of problems that goes with this type of samadhi, which is called sahaja samadhi. Sahaja samadhi is the perception of the piece of the background simultaneously with the perception of the objects. But the piece of the background itself has a very peculiar flavor because it feels so natural. The metaphor I use is the perception of the water by the fish which is in the water. The fish in the water just feels well in the water, but it becomes aware of the water mostly whenever it is taken out of the water. It is the same here. The experience of the peace just feels well, but there is no temptation to formulate it under normal circumstances for oneself. Oh, there is peace, or it just feels good. But when we are happy, in other words, we don't remind ourselves, oh, now I am happy. Under usual circumstances, we are just too busy being happy. It's just when we are worried, when we are the fish out of the water, that we notice that the happiness or the peace we were experiencing is no longer present. However, this non-objective experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or the non-objective part, if you will, of Sahaja Samadhi, is not an absence, it's not a nothingness. It has the warmth, it has the beauty, it has the love, it has the intelligence. Kind of merged together in this experience of emptiness. So it's an emptiness which is not a nothingness. The emptiness of the true Buddhists is this emptiness which is pregnant with everything, and which is pure, unalloyed peace and happiness. It has to be distinguished, for instance, from the emptiness of the nihilist Buddhists, which in fact see it simply as a nothingness, anatman, the absence of a self. Just for the Buddhist among us, not for you, Murray, asking the question. Thank you for your question.